thanks, Mary. Let's look at this comment here. So what do we actually do when one of us wants to learn how to communicate it and the other partner doesn't? And it feels like it's just one side. It feels like you're just going at it by yourself and they're not invested, they're not in it. How do you actually tackle that when it comes to communication, right? Before I fully answer this question, I want to just put a caveat, right? Mary, I don't know your full situation. I don't know you. We are online in the online space, right? So I'm going to answer this saying, just from like two people having a chat conversation. This is not like therapy advice, coaching advice, because I do not know your relationship personally. So do not just take this as a full gospel and run with it, right? Obviously, because I don't know your full situation. Now that we got that bit out of the way, let's look at this question. Okay, so when it comes to any and everything in life, we can only look at ourselves. We can only look at how we're responding and how we're reacting and what it is that we're doing. We can never force anybody else to change. We can't tell them to change. But what we can do is look at how we respond in the situation. And that, through the course of our actions, will inevitably start changing the person. For example, like you go to an office space and you see somebody like just going up the knock and they're speaking like this and they're going crazy. What do you instinctively do? You calm down, you take a step back. You don't go to that crazy level because you're like, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I want to be perceived at. That's not who I am. And you take it down a notch. You come down. You start leaning in and you're like, okay, I understand that you're upset. I see it. I feel it. I hear you, right? When you start taking that approach, that person automatically goes, oh, am I the one shouting? Because there's a lot of noise that I'm shouting. And they also, to hear you, they have to stop. They have to lean in. They have to concentrate, which means that automatically changes the communication dynamics. It already changes the situation around it, right? And that's how you start. You start off with small things. You start off with small ways that you communicate. You look at certain conversations and just in the small, how are you communicating in the small things? And that will slowly build up into the big. And you will start naturally finding that your partner is going to look at your conversations differently. Is going to look at communication differently because the way you are responding to them has changed. The way you're responding to your husband has changed. It's like, oh, and sometimes it's a case of relationship where they're expecting you to fight. They're expecting you to get aggressive. So they start arming themselves up with their defense. They start arming themselves. But when you don't come with the attack and you come from a place of love and you come from a place of calm, they're like, oh, okay. I had this whole like argument set up and now I don't have to defend myself. Okay, and then they can actually openly communicate. But men naturally, and I will say this, go to the defense. They naturally feel that they've got. So when you take that away and actually go, hey, this is a loving space, we can communicate, we can talk, they will respond differently. Hopefully that makes sense. But as I said, this isn't a be all and end all. I don't know your relationship intimately enough. This is just some tips to help you with that problem.